Nick, our podcast, The Dictionnaire, is available for free on iTunes, Google Play, and other podcasting platforms. Don't forget to hit subscribe to receive new episodes every Wednesday. Follow me and my podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at NICKAUN Podcast, or send your emails to NICKAUNpodcast@gmail.com. This episode is brought to you by Slam Disc, Brasserie Deux Frères, and bandpromo.ca.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more podcasting.
Hello, bonjour tout le monde. Welcome. Live from the North Shore. Here we are with the one and only, a good friend of mine. This man, you have heard him on the radio here and abroad. You've heard of him for sure before. His songs have splashed all over radio, FM, AM, name it. He's been everywhere. He's been to Toronto. He's been to Vancouver. He's been all over Quebec. My friend, lead singer from the band M.T.L, Made Them Lions, Mr. Mike Valletta.
Yeah, what's up?
Awesome. Just to give a little bit of context. First of all, this episode will be in English because, well, me and Mike are a little West Island, west of the Montreal kind of boys that speak to each other in English.
It could be English, franglais, on va faire le
Actually,
français.
it's going to be a fringlish, franglais all the way.
Franglais.
But yeah, I'm just so happy to have you on this podcast. We've known each other for a few years now, and especially now more than ever, you've been all over the place. But I think that people deserve to hear the full story, to know the full Monty, to know what Mike is all about, because you and me have very similar backgrounds, similar upbringing, similar career paths. So I feel like it's a great way to show people who is Mike. So let's start this off from the beginning. Mike, where are you from?
Well, glad to be here. Thank you for having me, man.
My pleasure.
And we do have a lot in common, especially our Italian appetites, right?
Italian appetites, absolutely. Bring me more.
Yeah, for always more food. No, I'm from Laval originally, Laval West. Mm-hmm. I grew up there, had a lot of good times there, met most of the guys in my band there, and moved to the North Shore a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm from. That's where I grew up.
That's where you grew up. So you're like
Québécois.
Banlieusard. I was going to say, now you and me both have a little bit of English and French in us. Where does that come from on your side of the family?
For me, my parents, they're like Italian immigrants, and they speak English at home and stuff. Mm-hmm. But like since I was, 3-4 years old, I would go outside and I learned French in the street with all my friends because we were in like a pretty French neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So that's it for me.
So I'm guessing when you went to school, I guess you did both English and French?
I did English school, but obviously, you have the French classes and you learn French from a young age, but I didn't learn anything in terms of French in school. I really learned it like with my friends on the street.
Wow, so
before I even entered school,
wow.
I was speaking French.
That's pretty cool because, on my side, my mom's American, my dad's French-Canadian, and I was going to school in French because that's, I think, the law or whatever. When you have an immigrant parent, sometimes depending if your father, there's a whole law thing, I'm not going to get into it, but I had to go to French school.
I've heard about this.
It's a little more complicated, but I had to go to French school, so I learned my French in school, spoke English at home. So,
okay.
But the funny thing is that both our careers have been very blessed because of our knowledge of French. So that's
absolutely.
Even though we're speaking to each other in English today, it's just a question of.
On peut bien parler en français, y a pas de problème.
On va faire les deux. Worst case, people are gonna be lost, but it's okay. That's just the way it is.
C'est correct. 2 minutes en anglais, 2 minutes en français.
There you go. That's the thing. You know what? And that's something I keep telling people. The more languages you know, the better. And if I could know 5 languages, I would. I know 2, so I'm happy with that.
Puis ma langue maternelle, c'est l'italien en passant.
Way. So you can actually seduce me in Italian right now?
Yes, I can.
Oh my God. See, the funny thing, my mom's Italian and I know very little of it. I know Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. Obviously, like minchia. Bro.
Yeah, bro. No, my mom would say, not Dios míos, that's in Spanish. It's Madonna mia.
Madonna mia.
There you go. So that's my limit of knowing Italian in terms of a language. But so we were talking about high school, learning in school. Where did you go to high school?
I went to Laval Catholic High School in Chambéry, right next to Carrefour Laval.
Ooh, so you had the proximity to the food court.
Oh, yeah, man. We made good use of that McDo there.
Oh, the McDo. Isn't that the best teenager food in the world?
Oh, yeah, man. I think it used to be, my favorite thing back in the day was like McExtras. I don't even think they have them anymore.
Dude, the McExtra. If anyone from McDonald's is hearing this, you effed up. You fucked up, man.
Bring that shit back, you hear?
Yeah, forget the McRib. The McExtra is where it's at.
McExtra, delicious.
Oh, dude.
I don't even remember what's in there, but it was like,
I think it was bacon, lettuce, tomato. And the patty,
like mayo too.
Yeah, there was like a little bit of mayo. It was like a BLT.
Yes, with bacon and beef. Oh, so good. I used to go and buy like 3-4 of them.
Oh, dude, when our metabolisms would let us do that, I could eat 2 of them and I'd gain a pound. Now
now forget it.
Forget it. We're drinking right now a Hickson IPA. It's
bière forte. It's Les Deux Frères.
Yeah, the Brasserie Deux Frères.
6.2. Man, I've had 4 sips and I feel tipsy already.
Oh man, well their beer's great. They're the sponsor of this podcast, and they're a great company.
Thanks for bringing this beer.
My pleasure. Yeah. So in high school, so I'm guessing music. Now this is why we were here today on this podcast. Is that you and me have known each other for years now through our bands, through our music careers.
Yeah.
Where is the first time? When is it that you discover music, or discover at least that you want to do music?
I was about 15 or 14, and I remember coming back home from a vacation in Cuba, in the car, and I hear some Queen that comes on the radio.
Queen.
Oh. It's like Bohemian Rhapsody, and I never sang in my life, and I started singing the song and stuff, and I was like, man, these guys are fucking awesome. And my parents, when I was a kid, before this whole 14-year-old Cuba thing, they had a karaoke machine, and they used to force me to sing every time people would come over. And apparently I was good at it, and I didn't realize until this Freddie Mercury Queen song came on the radio when I was like 14. I just started busting out Bohemian Rhapsody, and my parents looked at me. We're in the car coming home from the airport, and they're like, "What the fuck? You could sing? What? Okay, cool." And for me, it didn't mean anything. I never even thought of like starting a band or anything until my buddy Matt Gillis. He's the guitarist in our band, and we used to be friends since we were like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, and same thing happened. Like, he heard me singing one day. I think we went skateboarding, and we're just chilling. And then he hears me singing some Queen. Queen came on again, and I was like singing it. And he was like, "Whoa, man, you singing Bohemian Rhapsody right now?"
That's a tall order, by the way. If anyone knows, that's one of the hardest songs to sing.
Yeah. And he's like, "Man, we're looking for a singer. You should come sing." And I was like, "But I'm not a singer, He's like, "Dude, I just heard you do like Bohemian, man."
He's calling you out.
Yeah. He's like, I was like, "Okay, I'll try out." And I think we must have been, I don't know, 14 years old. That's when it started. And I remember that day. It's like this clear memory in my mind. That was like the start of everything. After skateboarding, we went to chill at Matt's place in his basement, and he had this big like mixer, this PA, drums, guitar amps. And for me, it was so cool to see all this gear. I loved it. It was amazing.
What were the first bands you were listening to? Because you discovered Freddie Mercury, you started, what was the bands that got you going?
Well, the Freddie Mercury stuff, the Queen, that's the first kind of singing I did in my teen years. But what I was listening to before that was Bob Marley. The first CD I ever purchased on my own was Bob Marley. Oh, it's weird, like a 12-year-old kid going to buy like stoner music. I didn't even
be like, is there weed gonna be hiding in his wall?
Actually, that's not true. Grade 3, Green Day, Dookie.
Oh, Dookie.
I fell in love with that freaking album. I was so obsessed with Green Day. That was my real first like coup de cœur of music, was Green Day.
I mean, that record, That record is insane.
It's one of my favorite records to date.
Today.
People that don't like Green Day, I don't get it. It's so good. It's so catchy. It's unbelievably good. It defined my childhood.
I think in a way people don't give credit to Green Day, because let's say the Beatles were like the rock and roll godfathers of like all the pop stuff we know today. If you listen to any pop punk music, the bands we listened to growing up, you can thank Green Day for that. Blink thanks Green Day for Green Day. You know what I mean? Like it's insane the contribution they made to the styles we love. So man, Green Day it's a no-brainer. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So now you say you met Mike, who is now
Matt.
Sorry, Matt. Sorry. I apologize, Mike.
No worries. It's the beer, man.
It's the beer.
Watch out.
It's too strong. So you meet the guys from M.T.L. in high school?
Actually, no. Okay, elementary, okay, kindergarten.
Oh boy, so we're going back.
We're going way back. It's just Jeffrey Cohen, the other guitarist in the band, met him in grades. Well, kindergarten is not a grade, right? It's like it's pre-grade 1. Matt Gillis, I met him in grade 3, and both these guys lived down the street from me. later in life, 13, 14 years old, we started a band together. But we were childhood friends. We'd go skateboarding every day, street hockey. And then we ended up meeting our drummer and bassist in Vanier College.
Vanier College.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to Dawson, so we didn't like the guys from Vanier.
You didn't like the Vanier guys. It was a rivalry.
Rivalry. No. Basically, Dawson didn't like anybody. No. But so you meet the guys, and when do you guys start writing your first material? When does it start? When's the creation start?
Right off the bat, like when I joined Matt's band, he was already writing songs. He was like a wizard on guitar, finger picking stuff, writing.
He's a talented guitar player. I mean, I've met him on tour a few times with you guys, and just a great dude.
Yeah,
very, very, very critical of himself. I found that very endearing. He always wants the best of what he does, and I thought he was. And I'm guessing if that came from such a young age.
For sure, man.
Oh, man.
I think it's like an artist musician thing. Like we're all super critical. I know I am. I know Matt is. You probably are too.
Yeah.
I've heard people say like John Lennon hated everything he ever wrote. And I'm just thinking, why? It's like John Lennon. Like, how could he not like his own stuff? But I think it's just an artist thing. It's like this innate self-loathing that comes with being so emotional and being an artist. I guess. I don't know.
Is that linked also to, because I was going to say, is that the name M.T.L stands for Made Them Lions?
Yeah.
Where did that come from as well?
Well, the real deal, I'm going to be real with you guys.
Be
right
real.
now.
Keep it real.
Okay, M.T.L. This was the first record label that we were with that gave us that name. And we were like, why? It doesn't even mean anything. And they're like, you guys are doing some bilingual stuff, and it's easy to say in English and it's easy to say in French. It was a very sterile business decision that they made. We didn't really have much of a say. And to be honest, we hated the name.
Oh, man.
We were like, fuck that. It sucks. And we didn't have a choice. So we went with M.T.L. And then, I don't know, 3 years after that, we ended up switching labels. And we said, okay, well, we're gonna like change the name. And our label was like, no, you guys are kind of known now under that name, so you can't just change it. It's not smart. So we're like, okay, well then what if we think really long and hard and bring some cool meaning to this M.T.L, and we turned it into an acronym. And we're like, let's go with something meaningful. And we decided to go with Made Them Lions because it kind of described le parcours de nos vies, in the sense that we had a lot of hardships, a lot of obstacles in front of us that we overcame. And that's what Made Them Lions means. It means that all the hardships made us stronger. It turned us into lions in a sense.
Listen, we had a chance to talk a little bit before we started recording this podcast, and we'll get into it for sure. But you guys have gone through some stuff in terms of the band, and oh man. Well, I'm always impressed by people that are passionate, that love what they do, and that especially, they stick out their chin when they need to stick it out, and they swallow the pill when they have to do it. And I mean, you and me, in terms of our relationship, we've known each other for a few years now. We get to see each other a little bit on the road.
Like, 5-6 years?
Yeah, about 5-6 years. I mean, we've played shows together. And
first show we did was what? Saint-Jean? Saint-Jean, Les Plaines d'Abraham.
Yes, Les Plaines d'Abraham. I actually have a funny anecdote about that story about you guys. I was there with my now wife at the time. We were there. Long story short, we show up at this show. They tell us show up at 2 a.m. No, sorry, not 2 a.m. 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Show up at 2 p.m. We go on stage at 8 or 10 p.m. that night. So they make us, because of the sound check schedule, we have to be there super early. So we have to spend basically 7 hours on Les Plaines d'Abraham just to wait to play. So me and my
hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait, exactly. So me and my wife, we go, fuck it, we're gonna bring our laptops, we're gonna bring a cooler full of beer, and we're gonna we just brought literally a picnic with us.
I remember that.
And I felt so bad for you guys, because you guys were there too. I'm like, hey, it's finally nice to meet you, great. So I'm like, yeah, me and Mary, we're gonna just, we brought some beers, we brought some stuff, we're just gonna hang around. And you guys, I thought, had a water bottle and played throw the water ball in the air in the fields for 3 hours.
Yeah, you remember that.
I just remember sitting down with poor guys, a Scrabble board, a chess, anything.
A Frisbee, please, just something.
I took an empty water bottle and just threw it to each other, playing catch in the field. I'm like, poor guys. Someone get them some Yahtzee or something.
I think we ended up hitting a lady in the head by accident. That's when we stopped her.
It's amazing. Oh my god!
It was like a half full water. It's kind of heavy, and we just whip it, boom, right in the side of her head.
Oh, but that was a great. I mean, I have great memories of that night, because you guys played it. It was one of the first times I saw you guys play live, and I mean, you guys. That's the thing. When I met you guys for the first time, my experience, I had known you guys up to that point, and we can get into this from your first record, from Don't Mess With My Sunshine and those songs in Red
You can't
Cups.
fuck with my sunshine.
Sorry, you're right. That's the uncensored,
the real. Because we're being real here.
We're keeping it real. Absolutely.
Keeping it real.
It's Don't Fuck With My Sunshine. That's true.
Yeah.
That was the first single I heard from you guys, and Red Cups was the second single, I think, after that.
Yeah.
So my only experience with you guys, I knew you guys were from the area, from Montreal. I thought M.T.L stood for, they're just from Montreal.
That's it.
That's all. That's what it was all about.
We got so much slack for that name.
Oh, really?
I remember going to like parties and people like making fun of it and be like, "Hey, M.T.L, real fucking original, buddy."
Like, hey, guy. They're keeping this Canadian, right? Hey, guy, it's not my fault, buddy. Hey, guy.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's, that's the thing too. People don't, we can get into this a little more, because I was going to say, when you guys started MTL and you guys got the band together, let's say it's unnamed at this point, you guys signed a record deal and put out a first record. Could you take me through that process of going through being high school, childhood friends, writing songs, and then actually signing your first record deal, getting out there for the first time?
First thing that happened that really got us noticed, which led to a record deal, was a demo that we recorded in our own basement. It got on 99.9 The Buzz.
Really?
Yeah. When we were like 18, I think, or 17 or 18, right after high school, right? We put out this little demo thing, and the Backyard Show, something like that, Backyard Buzz, I forget exactly what they call it. It's something like that. They played it on the air, and they really liked the song. People like started listening, requesting it. It was called Spin. And it was, it doesn't sound like anything we're doing now, but it was kind of cool. It was kind of like funky a little.
I was going to say, the first styles you guys known for like doing a lot of like the reggae. You like you said, you're a fan of Green Day, like the punk rock, reggae, ska. That
Big time.
Yeah, so I definitely heard that in you guys when you first started.
Oh yeah, we did mostly ska and reggae for the first little while. Mm-hmm. And Spin was like very funky, very ska. Mm-hmm. And like You Can't Fuck With My Sunshine, that was like reggae, very Sublime, really into Sublime. And like I said, Bob Marley's like the first CD I ever bought. So it was an influence early on. And that was on the radio. We got noticed a little bit. And then like we got like a call from some like producer guy from Toronto. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I want to start like writing songs with you guys. And we ended up going over and meeting him, and we wrote some songs that sounded really cool, which led to us kind of like living in Toronto for like 2 or 3 months. And he took us under his wing, this producer guy, and he said, all right, we're going to do a bunch of songs, start with an EP and see if we can get some management, some label interest. And that's what happened. And we ended up getting a manager who managed I Mother Earth.
I Mother Earth. The name
big 90s band. And then he was managing at that time another big Montreal band called... oh man, what are they called? Their song was "I Must Be Out of My Head." Mobile, yes.
Another great Montreal band.
Great Montreal band. Yeah, those guys were great. So we had the same manager as them, and then he saw us in show. We did showcases. He signed us on, and then he got us a record deal.
Wow. So it was fairly quick, because the way you're explaining it to me is that you guys were right fresh out of high school or CJEP, and you're already moving to Toronto. Because for people that are listening to this right now, you have to understand is that in Canadian music, there was always this old school mentality that if you had to break, you had to move to Toronto, play the shitty gig, and get into this industry. And over the years, Montreal has been becoming more and more a hub for music. Arcade Fire and the Sam Roberts, all these guys. Mobile, of course, as well, but even like a band like the New Cities, who are mutual friends of ours, who ended up going to Toronto as well, working with Greg Norrie, which we'll get into later as well. That's the thing, that the moving to Toronto and making your band break was the way to do it back in the day. So the fact that you got to get that experience early on is really, really good.
Oh yeah, it was great. We knew from an early age, like we had to find like the Canadian version of like the Seattle scene kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Not that Toronto's as cool as the Seattle scene in any way, shape, or form.
It's still Ontario. We're in Quebec, so we're supposed to hate them.
Yeah, it's a love-hate thing.
It's a love-hate thing, absolutely.
But it's like we went over there right away. We knew that it was a good idea. We knew it was a good move.
And I was going to say, in terms of production, because now you're at this point in your life, you're making your first record. How do you guys go about writing your own stuff? Because now I know you're starting to produce stuff. You're starting to record on your own. Was that how you were doing it back in the day as well?
Pretty much, man. We had like this really shitty console, and it was like a Roland or something or other recorder, and we had to record everything into the console and then export every instrument. In other words, every track in real time via a SCSI cable to an external burner. So
Wow, that just for the technical terms, that is just old school as fuck.
That is old school as all hell. I mean, it would take us like 6 hours to export a demo, you know? But that's how we started with like like right from the start. We always wrote our own stuff, and we would always like kind of produce it. And it's not even like it was a conscious decision for us. That's what we thought music was. Like you write and then you record it, and I don't know. That's what it was, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, that speaks a lot in terms of the punk rock. As let's say a band like mine, like Kamikaze, we have that same upbringing where it's like you learn early on to be kind of DIY. You gotta, it's very punk rock in the sense that you learn how to do your own shows, do your own records. I remember going to Tim Hortons and cutting my own flyers, cutting my own CD labels, going to Burr on Gross Staples and like printing out my own shit, borrowing whatever CD burner.
I still do that.
That's the thing, is that you learn early on how to kind of handle your own stuff. And I guess like for you guys in terms of M.T.L, when you guys at that point were doing your own stuff, getting your own record deal, that's the thing too. People have to realize when you get your record deal very young, it can get very fucked up very quick if you don't watch your back.
Sure did for us.
Well, for you guys, I'm guessing having that experience of kind of being a band for a while, knowing how to do your stuff. Because I was going to say now, just so people can hear this, we have songs from you guys like, Don't Fuck With My Sunshine on the first record.
Yeah.
And let's say also Red Cups.
Put them hands up in the air. Put them dollars in the air. Put them red cups in the air tonight.
So these songs, I mean, they played everywhere. Music Plus, Energy, and also, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first times I heard what we now call the Fringlish versions of songs, having French and English versions of your music.
Some people, and I'm going out on a limb here because I don't have all my facts straight, but some people have told us that they consider us the pioneers of the Fringlish thing.
You know what? And I'm going to back this up because I'm also not an expert in the sense that I don't have the data in front of me. I don't have NASA. I'm going to check my producer. For real, I think M.T.L was one of the first times I heard what I like to call Fringlish, which is where the blending of the English chorus with the French verses, which became a trend, or at least that became the modus operandi on French radio.
It became a plague. If you talk to radio guys, they hate it.
Well, but having done it myself, I know that it was a very controversial move at the time because we were also just a French band and we were doing English at the time. But I mean, I say this in the sense that if you guys broke that trend at the same time, and this is something that speaks volumes about your character, I think M.T.L got it done. They did what they needed to do to get where they needed to go.
Yeah. And
in this sense, doing the Fringlish version, because this was going to follow up my question, is that you guys broke on French radio, so it forced you guys to kind of change up the. Tell me about that.
Best move we ever made, hands down. Best freaking move we ever made. I mean, we're really fortunate to have experienced like any kind of success in such a hard business, all thanks to like the Fringlish and the French stuff, because for the first time, like it opened us up to a new market. French radio, that needed like some cool material. They're always looking for like good French artists because they really promote a lot of the French stuff. So when we came out with some cool material that was like Fringlish, they were really gung-ho. They were on board. They're like, hey, this is a cool sounding song, nice sound, Fringlish, we can spin this. And they tried it out. They kind of took a chance and it worked.
It did. I mean, again, when we met each other the first time, I think at that point I heard your songs all over the radio. And I mean, at the time Kamikaze was putting out also songs more on the alternative rock stations and some of the majors. Yeah. And that's how I knew you guys for the first time. Like, hey, this is a band from my hood and they're doing this cool like Sublime thing, and like and again, when I found out you spoke English, I'm like, oh my god, on top of that he's an Anglophone too. That's amazing. So that's great. I mean, like I guess that tour for your first record, that took you guys everywhere, because I remember you guys were playing some pretty big gigs at that time.
Yeah, man, that time was pretty fun for us. It started with Tu ne peux pas voler mon soleil, which is the French version of You Can't Fuck With My Sunshine, and our first single ever was actually 100% French.
Really?
It wasn't even bilingual.
It wasn't the bilingual?
No, it was. We did our two first singles were 100% French. No English in them at all. So there was Tu ne peux pas voler mon soleil, tout ce qu'il me faut, because we were really down to do the French thing. Like we recognized like it's a good move,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so we did that. And then we were like, hey, let's try a bilingual thing. Let's see what that does. So Red Cups was the first bilingual. And funny enough, that was our most successful song at the time.
I totally believe it because, I mean, the French thing, people know what Kamikaze. I mean, I used to be in English bands from like, you know, when I was 12 up to when I was 18 until I signed my first deal. And I remember all my friends going, you're going to sing in French. I'm like, you know what? That's where it's
why
at.
not?
Why not?
I mean, from here. I grew up speaking French.
Exactly.
Sam Roberts, like, you know, he speaks French. He's got a few songs that has a bit of Fringlish in them.
Exactly. In the sense that when you, like for me, I was born and raised here in Quebec, and I know I don't plan on moving to LA or New York anytime soon, but in the sense that to me it was ridiculous to kind of look at the music industry and refuse to do something that, anyways, I'm doing the music I love anyway. I mean, you're doing the music you love, it's just in a different language. And if anything, it's a challenge to translate that. To really get the same sentiment. And I think M.T.L was able to do that, because one of the things I was going to say is that your follow-up record, the second record, now, if you think the first one was good, to me, your second one was out of this world.
Oh, thank you, man.
No, for real. I mean, at this point in your career, we had met each other at the Quebec show. We're talking about, you know, throwing bottles at women's heads and whatnot. But
sorry, lady, if you're listening.
If you're listening, sorry, lady, and the bop on your head.
It was an accident. I swear to God, I wasn't aiming for you.
So at this point, I think Kamikaze, I think I was finishing my second record up. I was working on my third. You guys did something really brave, and you worked with someone called Greg Norrie.
The Gregster, yeah.
Oh my God. I know two people that worked with you and the guys from New Cities who have worked with Greg Norrie, and each one of them, I'm always like, you motherfuckers, I'm so jealous. I wish I could work with someone like that.
Yeah, man.
How is it to work with someone like Greg Norrie?
It was amazing, man. And I got to say, it wasn't easy to work with him. I had to fucking track him down. I had to pester this guy for a year before he decided to work with us. He was always like, yeah, get out of here, kid. Get out of here, kid. Fuck off. And I just kept going. I was like, Greg, you're fucking awesome. We got to work together. We got to work. And everywhere he'd go, he would do these conferences or he would do shows. I'd be there. Wow. I'd go up to him after.
You hunted him. He probably got a restraining order without you knowing.
He was at that point, and he had to decide either I work with them or I get a restraining order, and he worked with us.
Amazing. No, but I Greg Norrie, for people that don't know, lead singer and treble charger, produced, wrote for Sum 41, produced a bunch of Canadian bands, Stereos, New Cities, you guys. I mean,
he wrote and produced Headley's For the Nights I Can't Remember. One of their biggest. I see it in the way you do that.
I
whole
should get
thing.
you to sing more often in this podcast, because people don't know this guy's a fucking great singer. So I should like shut up and just let this guy sing for like 3 minutes. But for real, like working with Greg Norrie must have been one hell of a thing, because at this point you had already the success with the first record. You guys were on Quebec radio. What was it like writing and working in Toronto with Norrie and doing those songs?
It was a blast. Such a good time in my life. So many fun times, good memories. And Greg's such a good dude. He makes you feel like family right off the bat. And, you know, to give you an example of how he made us feel like family, he's like, guys, come stay at my house.
Really?
Yeah. We were there for probably 2 months. And we just lived at his house. He has like this massive, he has like fucking 6 floors. In Toronto, they stack upwards. We had like almost like a whole floor to ourselves, and it was so freaking fun. And what I remember is he's got all this Sum 41 memorabilia. The coolest part of the memorabilia was, you know, the Hellsong video with all the toys, all the action fingers?
Oh, he showed you the toys.
He has them all laid out.
That's amazing.
And we got to hold them. I was like, fuck yeah, this is amazing. This is the Hellsong video.
This is man, that's half the fun of being in a band like ours is to have these little moments where it means everything to us but nothing to nobody else.
Yeah.
The Hellsong toys. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I've got pictures of like me holding the Hellsong toys. And the Marauder guitar, which was Greg Norrie's first guitar that Derek Whibley used for like almost every tour Sum 41 ever did. Oh my God. And it's a kind of a piece of shit guitar, but
it went everywhere. It was a piece of shit, but it was everywhere.
I mean, it sounded good though. And like it went everywhere, and he has it, and it's all scuffed up, and it's got all these marks on it, and he's got stories for the marks. He's like, oh yeah, that's when Derek fell down the stairs because he was high on this, you know, like,
That's amazing. That's so cool. I mean, like, again, when you guys, this is also about the songs. If you guys are curious, this is the song like Crazy. And what was the other single that you guys had put out? I remember there's a second one as well.
I kind of forget. There's don't smoke weed, kids.
Don't smoke.
Forgotten How to Dream.
Oh,
Forgotten How to... The French version was Grâce à toi. And did we release a third one?
I think you guys had a third single.
I can't fucking remember. I think I'm pretty sure we did.
I'm going to scour the internet and find that single. Anyways, I'll just put the whole record on the podcast because it's a great fucking record. The thing is that this is what and this is why I was talking to you about this earlier, is that you and me have had the chance over the years of working on our own records, writing our own songs, we worked with other producers, we've done some stuff, and we seem to recognize when things are done really well. Like when you hear something done and well executed, and that's what struck me the most about your second record, is that it was so well executed. And I listened to it. I'm like, there's no reason why this shouldn't be a fucking number one in Canada. And the thing is that what people don't realize is that to get to that point, I mean, in this industry, it can get very difficult. It can get costly. But when I heard it, that was the first reaction I got, was like, it is a great fucking song, really well executed. But tell me, what was the experience? Let's say once this was out in the world, you guys released these Fringlish singles of Crazy and Grâce à toi.
Yeah.
What was it like after that? What was the reaction when you guys put that out?
The reaction on radio was really good. We got a lot of radio play for Crazy. I think Grâce à toi was a top 20 in Quebec on the top 100. And Crazy was our best performing single on radio to date. It beat out Red Cups. It beat out You Can't Fuck With My Sunshine. It was like a top 10. Or I think it was like top 5, top 6, top 5, something like that.
I definitely believe it, because that song was everywhere, man. It was everywhere.
Yeah. And we got an amazing response, and we got all these great gigs, and we got invited to do that was actually before Crazy. I was gonna say Festival des Montgolfières.
That's actually a second gig that we played together that you didn't know about.
I know you guys were there. I know you were there.
We're on this. We were playing a side stage. I remember just going, "Oh, those motherfuckers are on the big stage." No, but in the sense that I was so happy for you guys, because man, what people don't realize is that when your songs play on radio, especially in Quebec, it does give you sort of this opportunity to play for these really big crowds. I mean, Kamikaze had that opportunity. We've had it still to this day. Some of those opportunities, and you guys, again, this is what impressed me the most. You were actively with an English career. You were actively making English music, but you were accustoming your stuff to the French market, which was not. You didn't have to do it. You did it out of choice, and I thought that was really cool. And you guys were getting successful from it, which I thought was really impressive. And to see you guys on that big stage, I'm like, wow, it's amazing.
Actually, one thing that I do want to say is the only success that we've ever had, really, it's all been French or bilingual. We're not actually an English band in reality. We haven't had any fully English successful releases.
Well, it's never too late, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, ça se voit pas qu'on parle en anglais, mais on est vraiment 100% bilingue. Il y a des membres dans le groupe francophone, and for us, we're proud of this, man. This is where we're from. This is our home.
I couldn't have said it better. Absolutely.
C'est chez nous, and not only that, but c'est tellement une richesse d'avoir deux langues. Nothing against Americans, but it's a lot of Americans, they just speak English, and for me, that's cool. That most people in the world have one language, but when you got two languages, to me, it's such a richesse.
Oh, for sure. I know. I'm an English literature major, so that was my major in college, was English, French, learning in school. So those are my two languages. I mean, if I could learn a bunch of others, I would. I mean, I love going to, example, one of my favorite spots to go, Germany. I'd love to learn German.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's more languages, the merrier. And this is the thing in this province, I think, and this is what I love about what we do, you and me, in terms of our bands. I feel like one of the comments we get often, I'm sure you've gotten this before, is that how we treat the music with the respect that an American would with their music. And I'll give you some context. When you write a song, you're writing it in the way you want to write it. Even if it's in French, it doesn't fall in the cliches. It tries to be just as good as anybody else.
Absolutely.
And I feel to me, when I write French music, even if I'm an English guy, I always treat it with the same. I'm not like, oh, it's a French song, so whatever. No, I'm treating it with the same energy and the same fucking love I would an English song. It's just I'm using a different language. I'm using a different screwdriver. I'm using a different tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for real, that's why I asked the question about. I was going to ask you that question about what about French and English, which one you rather most. I would actually say, if I had to rephrase that question, what are the pros and cons? What do you feel is the pros and cons of doing French and English?
Okay, well, first off, with the French, I mean, it's all we've ever known, right? And it's the only success that we've had is that. We're extremely grateful to that. It's given us, a way to make a living, really. And that's something that we're always going to keep doing. Whatever song we put out, there's going to be the French version, and then maybe a bilingual or an English version. And that's something that we're always going to keep. Now on the English side of things, like I have to say, we would like to do English stuff. We've tried to no avail, unfortunately, to put out English stuff on radio in English Canada. And I can't tell you why, but it is impossible to get into the English Canadian market.
You know what? I'm going to say this from experience. When I put out Until the World Ends, which was Kamikaze's English song on our third record, we were able to get some airplay in smaller markets. We played across Canada, but not the major city centers, but it was still
that's it.
Right?
We same here, like a little bit like less than you guys, because I think you got a lot with that song.
I'd have to, I mean, I don't have the data in front of me, but I mean, you guys were active, because we're going to get to this. You guys have some really good store stories, because you guys went, I didn't go out there. You went out there.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the difficulty of doing English radio, or at least getting out there.
It's good that you mentioned the tour, because that directly ties into like trying to release English music on radio in Canada.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the whole reason we did the tour was to push the English single, because we wanted to visit all the radio stations across the country.
How many dates was that tour?
Ah, man, it was a long tour. It was like 30 or something, like around 30 dates.
30 dates. And this was in what year?
This was 2 years ago, 2015.
2015. Ah, it's true, 2015. So you guys hopped in a van,
Yeah.
and did 30 dates across this great land
Yeah.
of ours.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
So we went out and we tried to get some grants, some French grants, and we were refused. We went to our
Those
label
bastards.
and we're like, okay, we need some support for the tour. You know, can you help us out here? We were refused.
Even the label's like, I don't believe in this shit.
It's because, you know, not because they didn't believe in it, but they were like, no, we have to focus on, I think they wanted to send us to like Midem in France or something.
Which, à la limite, and I'm going to say that in French, à la limite, because parenthèse, you guys in France, I've been to France a few times.
Yeah.
I'd take you guys on tour with me in France any day of the
I
fucking
would
week.
love to.
Dude, M.T.L. Kamikaze tour in France would be killer, because in France, what you guys do,
Yeah.
oh man, it's next
Well,
level.
let's do it. Let's get it going.
That's it. We've decided this
It's
podcast.
done.
That's it. We're
It's
going on
happening.
tour. We're
La France, on s'en vient.
On s'en vient, France.
On s'en vient à la
On
France.
s'en vient en la France. Ah, putain! But yeah, so you guys toured
So
Canada.
So we go out there against the label's wishes. We were like, you know what? Fine, we're gonna freaking fund this thing ourselves. So we go out, we buy a $300 van that was ready to go to the scrapyard. It was broken down. We had to fix it up. So we go see our drummer's brother, who's a mechanic, and we rolled up our sleeves and we helped our drummer's brother, the mechanic, fix up our van. We redid the brake lines. I think we redid like a transmission. It was nuts. We had the engine out of the fucking van.
This is like Grease Lightning. You guys were like dancing around in the shop and just like, go Grease Lightning, go across Canada now.
It was a joke. Like, we had no money, so we had to do it ourselves, right? So we did all this stuff ourselves. We get the van ready, and then we're like, okay, we don't have money for hotels. We don't have money for anything like that. So, okay, we're gonna have to buy all of our food, pack that in the van, and this food has to last us the duration of the tour. We're gonna have to keep stocking up on food. So we made this whole area in the back of the van that was for food. Then the sleeping thing, we had to figure that out. Where the hell are we gonna sleep? So we're like, okay, campsites. Oh my! It's like $20 a night.
You brave soul. Oh my God.
So every night after our fucking gigs, we'd finish 2:30 in the morning, sometimes maybe 3. You know how it is. It goes late.
Absolutely. Never finishes early.
So we get in our van, we drive to some freaking patch of grass on the campsite at 3:30 in the morning, and in the darkness, there we are setting up a tent. By 4 a.m., we get to bed in the fucking tent on the ground. It's cold, it's damp. You sleep like shit, and then you wake up and you haven't showered because you're in the grass. Oh my God. You know,
there's no backstage parties with the women and the chicks and the drugs and rock and roll. There's none of that shit on tour.
There was none of that.
Oh my God.
I mean, there was partying, but like at the gigs.
Absolutely.
And that was it every fucking night, you know? And there were a few nights where we couldn't take it anymore. We're like, okay, we got to get a hotel. Maybe like 3-4 times we would get a hotel and we would like shower. And of course there's showers on the campsites, but you know, like when you have to walk a mile in flip-flops in the dirt to go, and you have to put
you get
25 cents for a 30-second shower. It's not the same.
See, now I've never with Kamikaze, because we've done some Canadian dates like out in Manitoba and stuff. They were more like fly out gigs. They weren't like touring like you did. I have nothing but utmost respect for bands that have their shit and head on the road, especially in Canada. Like I've toured Europe and I've toured, some places there and whatnot. And you know, everything's close, 2-3 hour drive, but across Canada, you got to fucking go across some fucking prairies and
Oh,
some
yeah,
mountains
yeah.
and shit. The Rockies, God knows what. I mean, and that's the thing. And I always tell bands, if you got the balls to go out there and fucking tour, and especially what you guys were saying is that you're touring to promote a single. Because what people don't understand is that when bands put out singles on the radio, most of the time they have to promote that single. That just is how it works. That's just the business we're in.
Big time.
So the fact that, let's say you got a song in let's say some station out in Alberta, if you want to make it really work, you got to go out there and actually show up.
You have to
have
go
a gig. Have a gig there.
You got to go shake their hand, show your respect. One-on-one, face-to-face, you got to talk to those people, make that relationship, because this is business like any other business. You can't do business through emails.
No.
Not in my mind anyways. It's got to be,
absolutely.
one-on-one, and you make those relationships, you pay respect, and you get that respect in return, and it's a relationship that needs to be built, and that's what we set out to do with the tour, and that was the point of the tour. We had a song called Tidal Wave, and that's the first ever English release that we tried to get on.
Let's
the
have a
radio.
listen to that right now.
Crashing like a tidal wave, trying to find my way to the shore. Nothing's gonna keep me from places I belong anymore. Whoa. So tell me what you're waiting for. You're waiting for that open door. Crashing like a tidal wave, trying to find
Awesome,
my way
man.
to the
Awesome
shore.
stuff.
Thanks, man. So we took Tidal Wave. We said we're going to take it across the country, and we hired a radio tracker. And he said, guys, I'll be honest with you, it's going to be hard to get this on the air. You're going to have to go and meet everybody. You need a story, So we're like, all right, let's book a tour. We'll go meet everybody. That's the point of the tour, was to meet the radio station. So we went into so many radio stations. Every time we were stopping in a town to do a show, we had like 2 or 3 radio meetings during the day before the show at night. So we went in and we met a lot of great people at radio. Some of them helped us out. We got some ads and stuff. Nothing big though. We didn't get any of the big, like the Virgins.
They're
Nothing like that.
fortresses. For people that are listening, you have to understand these major FM stations are sometimes incredibly difficult, especially for, I say up and coming, but that's not the case. But in the sense that they have to not only play Canadian, they have to play the American stuff.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to break in, but not impossible. And I've always told you guys that it's not impossible, and especially your stuff is so well done and polished that it's just a question of time, not a matter of if or when.
That's how we feel. I mean, like we're the kind of people that, I don't know, like we'll die before we give up.
Now that's words to live by. Don't die before you give up.
It's like, what's that saying? Is it New Jersey, live free or die? Is that
That's
it?
actually, I believe it's New Hampshire.
That's New Hampshire?
It's live free or, what is it again? I think it's, you said it as live
Live free or die, right?
Yeah, live free or die.
That's New Hampshire?
I don't know why I was thinking fucking that Bruce Willis, the live free or die hard. I think that's why I had
Live
hard.
free or die hard, yeah.
Yes, that's New Hampshire.
If you do die in the music industry, it is a hard death, right?
Oh, it is a hard. I mean, that's the thing. We were talking about this earlier about, unfortunately, the music industry does take some victims with them in the sense that some bands come and go and disappear. Unfortunately, some really great musicians have to stop or at least limit what they're doing because of the industry. So again, and this is all into your credit, you're still up and running. You guys are still writing music. You're still putting out stuff. So I mean, you guys are still standing.
And I wanted to bring something up about musicians. And,
Sure, go right ahead.
The kind of breed, the kind of people that musicians are. Like, we're talking about people in the music industry that die off. I feel so bad for these talented, gifted people that aren't able to use their skills and their gifts to make a living.
No,
because it's so sad. Like, I saw this video on Facebook, right? There's this homeless dude, well, seemingly homeless guy.
Okay.
And he just sits down in front of like one of these outdoor pianos, and the dude starts ripping like Mozart, and people start gathering around him, and they're like, whoa, this guy's amazing. They're all filming him with their phones, Facebook Live, all this and that. And then someone asks him like, what is it that you're playing? And he's like, oh, I wrote that. And you have to see how this guy looks. He looks like he crawled out of a sewer. No offense to the guy.
Yeah, he looks like a Ninja Turtle. He's like
Turns out he's like, some kind of, virtuoso guy, musician, and shit didn't work out for him. And that to me is like, it's such a waste. It's so fucking unfair, because what I saw this man do on that piano, it's like you have to be so intelligent to bust that out, you have to be like an alien or something. It's not even human.
It's insane. I mean, the talent level in this industry, that's the thing. People have to understand, we say the word industry. There is a music business and there's music.
Yeah.
There's the art of music and there's the business. Me and Mike, with our careers, have decided to work with the devil and work with this industry and coexist with it. But at the end of the day, me and him are both people that get our kicks from creating, from playing, right?
Absolutely.
So we have to kind of deal with the bullshit of adding business, a quantifiable to an unquantifiable thing, which is art.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, the homeless guy on the side of the road playing piano, it's heartbreaking and it's insane because
it's insane.
I don't know, but you know what? We hope, and this is something that I say to all people I meet on the road or fans or people that are starting out bands. I always go to them, I go, listen, nothing's owed to you. Things are going to get really shitty really fast. Things are going to be bad. But if you love what you do and you find creative ways of keeping it going at the most efficient, cost-effective way possible, you'll always find your audience, especially in 2017.
And, a lot of guys like this homeless dude or musicians that were in the industry, a lot of our friends and peers that have stopped, have quit music and they've got the 9-to-5 jobs now. That to me is something that needs to be brought up because the internet is killing people, not the music industry. It's ruining lives in the sense that people aren't buying music anymore and they're getting it for free and Spotify and all that stuff. I get that it's convenient. I get that it's cool, but I gotta say, when I spend fucking 2 months writing and recording a song, busting my ass every day, like 12 hours a day, and then someone pays like, what is it, $5 to $10 a month on Spotify, and they get all like my life's work for fucking pennies, and I don't get a dime out of it. That's not fair.
It's not fair. No, absolutely. I mean, and the thing too is that I'll nuance a bit what you're saying, because the thing about Spotify's and these iTunes and all that, what they do well is that they diffuse the music everywhere. Back in the day, you wanted a song in France, you had to send your album physically to France. It opened the waves. However, and this is a friend of mine from Les Vulgaires Machins, Guillaume Beauregard. He said this in an interview once when they were talking about the streamings. He goes, if the internet providers, they're able to know when if you play fucking a movie that's out in theaters on your computer, they'll send you a fucking email saying, hey, you watched our movie without, whatever. If they can actually get those numbers, why can't they find out what you actually spend and then use that fucking sweet, internet service provider money, because you're creating, this is what he was saying, us as artists create the content that people buy the internet service to get. Without our content, there is no internet.
There is no internet. Mark my words. I'm predicting massive class action lawsuits in the future. There is going to be hell that gets raised around this topic.
For sure.
This is illegal. This is exploiting. This has to fucking stop. And it's the internet providers that need to step up. And speaking of Greg Norrie earlier, I met him at a conference where he was talking about this exact topic.
Okay, yeah.
He was representing the Songwriters Association of Canada. And his whole pitch was we need to band together and get the internet providers to charge everybody like $5 to $10 a month.
Exactly.
And then that money gets divided by the percentage of spins that you're getting.
Exactly. This is what Guillaume was saying, is that if the internet providers charged you extra $5 a month on your bill, they took that money and then with the data they have, which is logistical quantifiable data, you spit, this song was played this many times on this and that, and just give it back. It's almost like, for this is a little more technical, SOCAN and these artist royalty services, they do that for radio, but why can't they do it for internet? And that to me, if that ever happens, Mike, mark my words, you and me are gonna be able to buy not just one but 2 houses eventually.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be able to stop eating craft dinner, put it that way.
And that's the thing. I know we're here together right now in your beautiful home. You've invited me here today.
Thanks,
and
man.
we both are hard workers. I find that we both, you were telling me about this tour and you're telling me about just, you building this house. We're both people that have tools and try to find the best way to make hay while the sun shines. And, like you said, if only the craft we do in terms of music and writing was compensated, and I say fairly, because the people think that artists are big fat cats, or you look at these Kanye West that are just like blowing off millions. That's the thing. Me and Mike write music we like. We go out, we tour, we tour in shitty vans, we tour in fucking you were sleeping on campsites, and we're not asking for $1 million. We're just asking that whatever our band does legitimately, can we get compensated? Like, you know what I mean?
My thing is this, like, let's say we're talking about the house, so I'll link it to construction.
Absolutely.
And my house. Like, I'm in a house here that we're doing this interview in a house that I've flipped. It was falling apart.
A beautiful home, by the way.
Thank you, man. And I came in here, rebuilt the thing from scratch myself, and a lot of the stuff that I didn't know how to do, I freaking taught myself how to do it. And that's kind of my mentality. It's like I hack life, you know.
Amen.
if I don't know how to do it, so what? I'll figure it out. It's not impossible. I'm not scared. And that being said, if I compare the music industry, what's going on in the music industry, where you give a service, you give people songs, you give them a show, something like that, you give them a product, you're supposed to get paid in return. Compare it to construction. Guy comes to your house, he'll build you, let's say, kitchen cabinets, and he'll do new floors. He ain't fucking leaving till he gets paid.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no other business in the world where you work, you provide a service and a product, and then don't get paid.
It's insane. I mean, and you've tu l'as vulgarisé tellement bien in the sense that I remember seeing this interview where the guy goes, "Oh, back in the day, in the medieval days, art was paid for by the king who paid the jesters, and it was like culture was a thing that had to be paid for by the city." I'm like, yeah, in a fucking utopia where we can get paid to do that, but in the sense that we decided to make music and sell it.
And I want to say one thing about that. I think you touched on something really cool there. Why did the kings even bother to have these artists and these musicians?
Because life, and I'm speaking out of no expertise whatsoever, but life isn't just work and dying. There is a certain entertainment. We are entertainers. We entertain. We get people have a little bit of disposable income. We try to entertain them for that disposable income. That's why entertainment exists. It's to fucking have a good time, make life a little more fun to live.
And I'm happy entertained. That's what I do. I love it. It's just that, how am I going to do it if I'm like starving or whatever?
And this is, I'm showing it back to you, is that you found a way. You said you hacked life. That's what you found, a life hack. I think us, because of our punk rock upbringing, at least in the sense musically and that DIY aspect, I think we were wise enough to see this kind of before it happens and learn the tools of the trade to become as self-sufficient as possible. So I feel like, as much as we could do better, of course, and we can get more, we luckily gave ourselves a little bit of a foundation to work on. So, I mean, in a perfect world, and this is what I want to say about it, is that in a perfect world, we definitely would be compensated fairly for what we do. And I think that the fact that we still create, even with that said, speaks a lot to our passion about what we like doing. And that's the thing I want people to understand when you're hearing this. As much as art is unquantifiable, it's hard. You can't put a price tag on art. It's subjective. It's very difficult. And when you mix the world of business with art, it's selling someone's creation. It gets really, really fucking crazy real quick. It's a very gray area. But what is true is that me and Mike have made a decision consciously when we were 18 to put our music out there for the world to consume at a larger scale. It's a choice we made and we accept it. But the fact of the matter is, like you said about construction, to me, it's just regular common sense to go, okay, this person spent time on this. Let's find a way to compensate them justly. Not make $1 million. I'm not saying I wrote a song and I was supposed to be a millionaire, but just...
But here's the thing. If no one listens to my music, if no one is consuming my music, I don't have a right to be paid. But if people are not buying, but they're acquiring my songs somehow, and they're enjoying it, and they listen to it a few times a day, well, you got to fucking pay for that. That's not free.
Exactly. I mean, again, and this is not, and when you say this, and I want to make this very clear, and I'm the same way with Kamikaze, I love my fans. I know my fans love, if they don't buy the CD, I'd rather a guy fucking download my record, but come to my show, buy a ticket. In the world we live in.
And I just want, sorry to cut you out, I just want to say, this isn't directed to fans. This is
absolutely.
Internet service providers. Because the fans are paying them for their internet, their Wi-Fi and all that shit.
Absolutely.
We're being exploited by these big internet service corporations.
Exactly.
They've got the cash. They just don't want to share it. And that's where the class action lawsuit is going to happen in the future, is against these guys.
Absolutely. And I mean, just to kind of button up what I was saying about this too with you, is that, in a perfect world, you and me, from these internet service providers, will get our just due, in the sense that I'm not saying, like, if my song plays 2,000 times and one spin is worth 5 cents, then give me that 5 cents, if that's the price. What I'm saying is that just be legitimate, just concise. There's the data out there. We know how much we've played. We can quantify it.
Absolutely.
But this comes up, this is actually segues into what I was going to talk about, because speaking about being in a band like M.T.L, let's say for me, like Kamikaze, we're doing, tours, touring in vans and stuff. You did something amazing recently. You've made a switch to something that's on the other side of the spectrum. you became a contestant on The Voice, La Voix
In Quebec, yeah.
which, again, I don't need to repeat myself, but that is one of the biggest, if not biggest, TV shows in this province.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the biggest TV show in the province. They got the most viewers, best ratings, across the board. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. So much fun, so many good memories, and I'll never forget it. I'm really glad I did it.
Well, I wasn't surprised, because when I found out you were on The Voice, my first reaction was, well, of course, he's a good singer. And to me, it's like that show is all about finding great singers. And people don't know, a lot of these singers are great writers as well. They're just, they're professionals, or some. Yes, some of them are amateur, but some of them are, busting their ass, and just this is a great opportunity. And I saw you perform. I think this is actually a great thing. We can even listen to a clip of this. When you went on your first performance, you did a Sam Smith song.
Yeah.
Let's go listen to that.
You and me, we made a vow. I can't believe you let me down, but the proof's in the way it hurts. You say I'm crazy. You don't think I know.
He turned around immediately within the first few notes. It was insane.
Yeah. It was, the whole Sam Smith thing came from us doing shows here in Montreal with my band, Made Them Lines, and playing that song as a cover live, because we would get requests. People kept saying, oh yeah, you got that voice for it, you should sing this. And it caught on, and we ended up doing it all the time at like all of our shows. So then when I did The Voice, La Voix, I said, all right, I'm going to do what people like. I'm going to go do Sam Smith. And I didn't think twice about it, and I'm glad I did, because like you said, Marc Dupré turned around right away, then Éric Lapointe turned around, and it earned me a spot on that show.
Awesome. Now we're going to tease this up, because I want to hear a little bit about your parcours and the adventure that was La Voix. We're going to go take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about that. So stick around. Remember, you're listening to Nick a un podcast de dictionnaire. You can always send your questions, your emails, or your reactions to this podcast at Nick a un podcast, Twitter, Facebook, even on email, Nick our podcast, AUN podcast @gmail.com. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about that, the adventure that was La Voix.
Is your wardrobe in dire need of some rock and roll? Do your house guests flee in a fit of rage at the sound of your music collection? Stop messing around and head over to bandpromo.ca. What's bandpromo.ca? It's your one-stop shop for awesome band merchandise. Local, international, hell, even your buddy's band is on bandpromo.ca. You will find it all. Cassettes, CDs, vinyls, clothing, accessories, stickers, and even pins. The website is easy to use, shipping is quick, and more importantly, all the proceeds go right into the band's pockets. Use promo code NICK10 and receive 10% off your next order. Don't look anywhere else. Head over to bandpromo.ca. That's BAND promo.ca.
And we are back, Mike.
Yes.
So like we just said earlier, we're talking about La Voix, your experience on, if not the biggest TV show in Quebec on TV at the moment.
I'd say so, yeah.
Pretty much. So tell me, so now you got in, let's say you were on, I believe, I think Pierre Lapointe's team?
Pierre Lapointe.
Yes. Pierre Lapointe, big Quebec artist, very well known. How is it like to be with someone like that, has that much experience?
I was looking forward to it. I was really excited to, make friends with Pierre, and even les mentors, les Sœurs Boulay, the mentors that were brought on. And, it was more than what I'd hoped it would be. It was even better than what I was expecting, because these people are a wealth of information and wisdom and experience. And you have to understand, like in the music business, when you are Pierre Lapointe or les Sœurs Boulay, and you've been doing it for so long, you've learned so much stuff. And to sit down with them and get advice from them, that's when you realize, wow, these people know their shit, like
the real deal.
So much more than I even imagined. Like whether we're talking about the business, whether we're talking about writing, coming up with harmonies, they always had really smart ideas. And I learned a lot from them. And the other thing that I notice about these people, they're successful. And there's a common denominator with these successful people like them that I love to talk about. It's the fact that it's the kind of people that they are.
Yeah. A certain breed, like you said earlier.
They're a certain breed. That first of all, what you notice is not in a bad way. They're emotional. It's not like, they cry easily. That's not what I mean. I mean that they have a high emotional intelligence.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're an artist. Your job is to emote, is to transmit that emotional information through song. It'd be insanely crazy to be just some stoic, cold person going, "I love you."
Yeah, it's like they're emotional intelligent, and I put myself in that same category. I can relate to that, and the fact that I'm even perceiving it, that I'm able to analyze that and pick up on it, is because I'm also like that. But they're so fucking emotionally intelligent. They know what you're thinking by looking in your eyes for 3 seconds, and they got it.
Oh, that's insane.
It's like a sixth sense or something.
Yeah, it's like a sixth sense. I have that sixth sense when I watch bands on stage and they freak out because something went wrong. I'm like, oh, body language. He's the guitar player. Oh, his pick just dropped. He's upset. Not the same level of intelligence, but
But they've been able to hone that into something useful, and they'll be like, you know what, Mike? I remember I think Les Sœurs Boulay or something. Steph told me, she was like, the way you're standing there, it's not working out. You gotta spread out your feet more and then look up. And she's like, I can tell just by your body language, you're tense, and you're gonna have to switch up your body language to open up the song more. And I was like, it's kind of fucking weird. Are you sure, Steph? I don't know, man. I'm just singing the song. And I did it, and it changed everything. And I was like, my voice got louder and clear. And they're really keen. They're really smart people. I loved working with them. I learned so much, man.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I know in our industry, especially in let's say in the punk rock world or the alternative world, very critical by these TV shows. I tell people, you may not like the TV show, but you have to respect the fact that the people on these shows know what the fuck they're doing. These are talented individuals that have made their lives doing that art. I'm talking like the Dupré, the Lapointe, all these people, Marimé. I mean, these are people that, whether you like it or not, have made names for themselves and have basically created a career out of it, of just being themselves, and you can't take that away from them. And I guess that's one of the things I noticed from you when you were on that show, is that you were already a great singer before that. You've got, what M.T.L, what made them lie. You to me, it's like, wow, this guy was doing that. What is there left to learn? We're already in the business. And you seem to be saying that there's so much more to learn.
There's so much more to learn, man. I think there's always more to learn. And this show really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I learned a lot about singing. They pushed me to go a little bit further, to hit some higher notes like Freddie Mercury style. Because they saw, man, you can do it. And there was this day where je me suis comme vraiment démarqué des autres chanteurs. Nothing against the other singers in any way, but I didn't even notice it. I think it was the vocal coach that told me. We were doing warm-ups, and I just kept going up and up and up in chest voice, and I was with the girls singing the girl notes. And the coach was like, what the fuck, dude? Why aren't you doing that on stage?
Are your balls still there? What's going on?
Yeah. He's like, that's some Freddie Mercury shit. And he was like, next song, when you do, and we had done, I chose Counting Stars, my last song from One Republic. And they were like, okay, you're going to go and sing like these crazy notes at the end. We really want you to go there. And they pushed me à atteindre un nouveau niveau. So that was one thing that I learned that was really fucking awesome. The other thing that was enriching that I learned, it was about myself as a person, the kind of person that I am. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged somewhere when I was with all these other singers.
Oh, that must have been insane to be surrounded by such talented, passionate people. It must be so great, so inspiring.
Because I've always felt like I never fit in. I always felt like I was weird. And you know what? It's not that I'm weird, it's that I'm a different breed. And that's what I realized when I was with all these other singers. They're exactly like me. And I was like, holy shit. They do the same thing. Like, they do art, they draw, they sculpt, which I do. They're super emotional about things, emotionally intelligent. I mean, and there's so many similarities that I was like, I just saw this pattern. It was very, very clear. We're so similar, all these singers.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
That's great. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
We're not different. Like, society and the system that says you have to get a 9-to-5 job, that it conditions you to feel that if you're not mathematical and super rational about stuff, then you're shit. You're a loser and you're a failure in life. That's how this fucking system made me feel for so long. I had a lack of confidence. I didn't feel good about myself because Albert Einstein says, or he said, the school system It teaches you to do one thing, and it's for one kind of person. And it's like, let's say for monkeys, you're a monkey, you're good at climbing a tree. That's what the school system teaches you. It teaches you as a monkey how to climb the tree. But there's a lot of different animals. There's fish, there's whatever. And he said, don't ask a fish to climb a tree.
Yeah. Oh man, that's yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're talking about like, I felt the same way in terms of like my career. I mean, I'm lucky enough, like you, where we got to do music and got known for it, play on radio, play on TV. We got to live the life of the musician and whatnot. But you realize that the society around you, as you grow older, things seem to kind of solidify in place. Like we're lucky enough that you and me, we're now homeowners. We have beautiful girlfriends and wives. We get to play and tour and do all sorts of great stuff. But that came from a lot of fucking hard work and a lot of fucking, sleeping on campsites and playing shitty bars and so on.
Oh yeah.
And we are often told by people around us, why are you doing this? Why? What's the point? It's not making bank, whatever. And you're like, it's just that me sitting in front of a fucking office instead of a cubicle,
My God.
it kills me.
And I'll tell you, I've done the cubicle thing. I used to work for an insurance company. I was in a cubicle doing fucking insurance claims.
I used to work for Fido in a fucking call center and take calls. Hi, my cell phone's a piece of shit. It's your fault. It's not my fault.
Yeah. And I used to freaking have like, not panic attacks, but I'd be so fed up of sitting in the cubicle. I'd go to the bathroom every 15 minutes and like put water on my face just to try and switch shit up because I was like imprisoned.
Oh, dude, I totally feel you. I totally feel you. That's what it fucking is.
And that's the thing about me. This show, La Voix, it gave me a lot of self-worth and a lot of confidence. And it made me realize that me and you and the other singers and musicians on the show, we are a breed. We are the same kind of, like genetically, there's a common denominator. There's a thread that runs through all of us. I don't know what it is, but we're wired in the same way. And I think people like us, we're natural born hackers. We question fucking everything.
That's great.
We break the rules. We're not scared to forge our own path. Someone tells you that's what you got to do. That's the way it is. People like us be like, fuck you. Why do I got to do that shit? Who said that's the way it is?
Exactly.
Who said that I got to do that? There's a better way. I'm not doing that. Fuck you.
Is there anything more punk rock than that? Coming back to where we come from.
That's right. That's right, man. Like,
oh, it's great. No, but you know what? You're so right. And for real, like just hearing you say that, I just want to get up and just start fucking singing my balls off. It's so true. And again, the La Voix thing must have been such a great. You're telling me now, and I'm like, I want to go try that shit out. It seems so fun and inspiring to do that. And I'm guessing
amazing.
And I was gonna say, and another thing that got me going about you were talking about La Voix and just that world. It must have been one hell of a thing though to be in front of fucking God knows how many million people
scary
every Sunday. That must be insane.
So scary. I mean, I've done shows like I went in there feeling pretty confident because I've played in front of like 60,000 people at an outdoor festival. I've done a bunch of stuff like that. So I felt like, I know what I'm doing here. But when those cameras come on and like you're thinking there's 3 million people that are watching right now, like my face and my voice is simultaneously being projected in like 2 million different households in this province.
That's insane.
It's like a paradox. It's like, it fucked me up. I was like, holy shit. And I got so nervous when I did my audition à l'aveugle.
Yeah.
I was shitting bricks, man. I couldn't breathe before. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? I'm actually, and I didn't realize that I would feel that way. And I think it's also because I wasn't with my band, with my best friends.
That's true. That must have been another thing we take for granted. I mean, you were singing alone. You're usually with your band, your boys. Oh man.
And I'm there looking at them on stage and we're smiling at each other, having a good time. And they weren't there and I was all by myself. And I'm so happy that I got out of my comfort zone.
And you did that.
And I did that because like I saw something by Will Smith on Facebook that I think is equally cheesy and insightful. Mm-hmm. It's like a 50-50 ratio of like
she's insightful.
He's like talking about some shit like, yeah, when you live life on the edge of fear, that's when you live to the fullest. Nah. And it's like shut up, Will. It's too much, buddy.
Stay in Miami.
Yeah. It's like, come on. But he's right though at the same time because like I was scared as hell to go up there and I really felt this amazing rush when I was up there and when I got off stage.
Necessity is the mother of invention in the sense that when you have no choice, that's when the beauty comes out of it. And I guess in your sense, you're like, well, I've made it this far. It can't get any worse. I might as well go out there and just make it happen and be damned whatever happens. I guess what I mean for me with Kamikaze, I've played big stages, same as you. I could just only imagine being on TV in front of so many people at the same time. It must be so nerve-wracking. But then again, this is where I want to come back to. You've got experience. You had a chance to do these things. Like you said, there's an adrenaline rush. For the people listening at home. There's something in us, and I think you feel this too. When it's go time, no, in showtime, that light, there's just something overcomes us. You end up just fucking doing it.
There's this wildness in me that gets unleashed when it's showtime. I let loose, I go nuts. And it's this thing that I saw in my childhood a lot. Like I was like the kid in my group of friends that I would climb up on a roof and then dive into the pool. I was like always doing the insane, crazy stuff.
Insane.
And like I'd be with my friends and they'd egg me on, I'd get excited, and that excitement would like incite this freaking riot in me. And when I get up on stage, same thing happens, man. I like invent moves that I didn't plan on doing. I'll jump in the air and I'll spin 360. I'll fucking run into the crowd. I'll dive into the crowd and crowd surf. Like it's party time for me.
Oh man. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Your live, I guess we haven't touched on it much. I mean, in the sense that your live show, I've seen your live show, a great live show, guys, a great band, guys are really tight. And I was going to say, I guess we can probably kind of get to the conclusion of this. And I was going to say, now we know where you're from. We know where you've been. Now I want to know, where are you going? What is next for Mike? What is next for Made Them Lions?
Wow. Keeping with being real. A lot of people that they'll do the show and they'll tell you like, they'll lead you to believe that they've hit the big time. Mm-hmm. Oh man, yeah, I'm going places. Oh man, I'm going to be so much bigger than I've ever been. It's not true. I'll tell you straight up, like for me, it's about hard work, getting organized, and figuring out like the next chapter of my career. And where I'm at right now, I've just finished this show. It's like fresh, like 2 days ago. I still don't know exactly what the next chapter is. I'm in the process of like writing, like after you leave, my plan today, I've got like a bunch of bookers and festivals to call. I got to get to booking. So I'm going to start with booking, and we've got a bunch of demos. I was showing you some demos before.
Yeah, and they're great. I've heard them before, all of you people, and they're great. I know they're good, so.
Thank you. And like, I don't know which one we're choosing yet. We still have a lot of decisions to make, which song, and then which radio stations we're going to go for, when are we going to release it. Mm-hmm. So everything's kind of like in the works, and we're writing that next chapter as we speak. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen yet, but from the beginning of my career, every time we kind of like geared up and got ready to do something, like we never knew what was going to happen. It's just the way the business is. Like, there's no guarantees.
There's no guarantees.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you said it best. You're writing, you're working, you're getting your fucking hands dirty, your sleeves are rolled up, and you're working. Yeah. And if I can, from experience, and the same thing with Kamikaze, I mean, we have a record label, we have a following. It doesn't mean I have to stop working. I still got to roll up my sleeves and get shit done. And I think that you guys, especially with all the stuff you've done, with all the singles you guys put out, especially with now your passage à la voix, I mean, the world's your oyster at this point. And I think that, I mean, from what I've heard some demos, I've heard some stuff. Christ, we're going to see each other still on tour. We're going to probably play shows with each other. Like you guys,
we have to.
No, but in the sense that you guys are not going anywhere. I know you guys got to keep putting that stuff out, and just seeing your work ethic, which I hope translated really well in this podcast. You guys have to understand these guys work really hard, and if you guys are still up and running today, it's because of that. Mm-hmm. So for sure, I'm telling you, I think your future is bright, and I just hope that it keeps going. So
me too.
I would have to say, I guess we're gonna also close. I also had a question to ask. I usually do this with all my guests. I usually try to get their what's in their headphones at the moment. Like, is there kind of like a coup de cœur as we finish the show today? I'd like to know, what is Mike listening to these days?
Oh, wow. It's a good question for someone like me, because I think I'm very different from a lot of musicians in that I don't listen to music a lot, which is probably the opposite of what people would expect. I sometimes I'll binge listen to the same freaking album for like 4 months. I don't know why. I just keep listening to something, and I know what I like. I keep listening to the same things, but I go long periods of time without listening to anything. And mostly what I do is I just write stuff. And I guess the way my mind works when I'm writing, the way it all like works out, even though I don't listen to a lot of music and I don't have a lot of stuff in my headphones at the moment, all the shit that I've listened to, there's a part of my brain that it just kind of records it. And as I'm writing, little bits of things I've heard come out automatically without trying.
Oh man, that's great.
And what am I listening to right now? To answer your question, nothing really. But like yesterday, for example, I was at my house building these bookshelves here in my living room,
which are very nice. You can't see them on the podcast, but they're very well done, my friend.
Thank you very much. I put it on shuffle, and I was listening to some Tribe Called Quest. I listened to a bunch of Bob Marley, and a lot of Cage the Elephant. And the only reason is because that's just what the shuffle played.
Oh, you let life take you where it needs to go.
Yeah, I just go wherever.
Man, you know what? There's this one song I've been listening to a lot. Same thing about you is like if I stick on something, I stick on it. A buddy of mine showed me. It was actually the music video I saw first before the song. It's Mike Snow, Genghis Khan.
Ooh,
dude, it's an old song for everyone listening because I got on the boat very late. I saw the music video. I was captivated. Because we shoot music videos in Kamikaze with Steve-O. We kind of got a gist of how it's done. And you look at the production values, I was like, holy shit, this is a really well done video.
Yeah, he's amazing. Steve-O is amazing. I've seen his stuff.
Oh, he's great. He's
top notch.
Oh,
actually, next video, maybe we'll call up
Steve-O.
Steve-O.
Are you listening?
Steve-O.
No, but I was watching this video with that kind of lens of like, wow, there's a lot of production value in this, and the song just stuck with me, man. When I say stuck with me, I was like, oh, I got a little bit Genghis Khan. I just had that on shuffle or on repeat. And it's not punk rock. It's not pop punk. It's just, it is what it is. And I just fell in love with it. And I think that's what's happening more and more with me is that in terms of new music, I'm just letting the songs kind of take me over no matter, and if it's good music, it's good music no matter the style.
You know what though? One thing I do want to say, one artist that really stuck with me recently, James Bay.
Oh, yes.
James fucking Bay.
James Bay.
I didn't even know about this guy. Everyone's like ranting and raving, and I was like, doing my normal thing of like ignoring the world.
Oh.
I'm very like introverted sometimes, but I heard James Bay and I freaked out. This guy's awesome, so good. And I've been listening to a lot of James Bay.
Oh, yeah, awesome. He's a great artist. I've heard very good things about him. I mean, I think one of his songs was even in an iTunes commercial or an Apple commercial.
Oh yeah.
I listen. I might be missing it up. Email me if I'm doing it wrong. But
not that I would know. Like.
But yeah, I've heard about him, and I've heard I think a song or two of his, and yeah, very good.
I don't know what's going on in general because I'm like the antichrist of social media. I fucking hate social media. I stay away from that shit.
You're a smart man because unfortunately I've dug in too deep. Another thing, I think so. I mean, we can get into a whole podcast just on social media, but the important thing is that I think, like you said it yourself, you know how to doze, you know how to take and leave a few things. You spend your time in the now, you spend your time writing, and I think that's the way to go. Especially, there's so much shit out there. I mean, we're not missing anything. We're not missing very much. But listen, I can't thank you enough for your time today.
Don't even thank me. This was so much fun. I really love doing this. I like to talk in general.
Oh, dude, this is why we get along. So I love to talk.
This is fun for me.
Basically, we can just do more and more and more, and let's make it a date every once in a while to come back and talk about it.
Get some beers going.
Yeah, get some beer.
We'll follow the tradition today of espresso and beer at the same time.
See, we get drunk, so we're all
and hyped
and hyped at the same time. We're driped.
We're driped, baby.
So remember, you're listening to Nick on our podcast, Dix and I. Our new shows are every Wednesday. We meet always a great guest, friends of mine, awesome people. Send your questions, send your suggestions, your outrage or your compliments to NICKAUN podcast@gmail.com or Nick AUN podcast, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Once again, Mike, Thank you
man.
for your time, and hopefully we'll see each other soon. Remember, you can check Mike out, Made Them Lions on Facebook, on Spotify, on all these, on iTunes. Go buy the no, fuck the Spotify. Go buy his record because his record is fucking awesome. Go get them, follow them, listen to them, see them at their next show.
Yeah, guys, do me a favor. If anyone listening wants to get some music, why don't we try this? I just thought of this right now.
Go ahead.
Email me, and I will personally fucking send you a song.
See now, ladies and gentlemen, that's the beauty of podcasts. You heard it right here. Mike's like, send him an email and he will send you.
If you care enough to send me an email, I'll send you a fucking free download. How about that?
There you bon marché, man. That's a good fucking deal. So once again, Mike, thank you so much. And to everyone listening, see you guys all next week. Once again.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.